Welcome to the Innovation Meets Leadership podcast. Real inspiration for real innovators. If you're looking for innovation and leadership transformation, your journey starts now.
Welcome to the Innovation Meets Leadership podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Bourne. I'm so excited that we're in season 4 now. And if you didn't know it, my new book is out, Set It on Fire, The Art of Innovation. So head over to setitonfire.co to learn more. My guest today is Matt Swalley. Matt is the co-founder and chief business officer of Omniki. And it's an AI marketing platform that generates and optimizes personal ad creatives and increases sales across all digital points. This is powered by OpenAI, GPT, and DALL-E 2. And they also have their own proprietary algorithms that they've built. We'll probably get into that a little bit today. Ask them about their customer targets, how they actually manage thousands of AI-generated ads to drive conversion. Excited to talk to you today, Matt.
Thank you so much for having me, Natalie. And hello to all the listeners out there.
Well, I would love for you just to talk a little bit about your, personal, professional journey. Like, how did you get to the point where you founded the company? And then just tell me a little bit more deeper, maybe about what the company does.
Sure. So I'll start with just a quick overview of Omniki. So Omniki uses artificial intelligence to analyze performance data and use a tool called computer vision to help pull out insights into what's driving sales. And then we generate tons of iterations of creative for testing and increasing sales that are more efficient. And my background is I joined Omniki, about 2 years ago. I was full-time employee number 3, actually. The founder is named Hikari Senju. He actually thought of this idea in 2018. So we're coming up on 5 years, actually, from the initial inception of the idea. And he knew generative AI was going to start to get better and that the key to all that was data analytics. He's a Harvard computer science grad.
Wow.
And now it's just, Natalie, as you know, it's absolutely on fire right now. The technological improvements are moving so fast, and we're in a perfect space because we were set up to use that data and analytics and then move really fast into integrating. But I joined from 13 years at AT&T, where I led sales teams on the old days when you picked up the phone and called and emailed for sales.
That's right.
Right? And now digital advertising has to be your baseline, and it complements all these other channels. I spent time as a chief of staff for the global business officer, spent a couple of a year in Atlanta, actually, when the headquarters was there. And then finally finished off in corporate strategy before joining Omniki. There's another co-founder as well named Aaron Surloff, who was the second full-time employee. And then now we're off to the races.
Wow. I just want to pause there and say how amazing it is to have an idea, but know that technology is not ready for it yet, but then to also know that eventually it will be. I mean, that's pretty profound.
Right. Yeah. So in the early days, we were, using GPT-2. So the first version of Omniki had an analytics tool that looked at performance data, and then it would write copy with GPT-2, which was still a time saver, but now it's getting to the point where you can write full things, analyze the data, generate images, videos, all kinds of much more effective creatives.
So, talk about just what inspired you to, just hearing your background, I want to know more about what inspired you to jump on this train and be a part of this journey.
Yeah, I was at AT&T doing corporate strategy. And during that time, you are doing deep data analysis. So financial analysis. I was spending, weeks looking at financial reports, trying to plan 5-year outlook, things like that. And we were also analyzing top technology trends and companies. And during this time, I was looking at all these really amazing startups. And we were also looking, what's that next wave of growth? You look at this book called Innovator's Dilemma, which was a really famous one that I enjoyed by Clayton Christensen. But there's all these evolving technologies, and there's startups that can go disrupt the incumbents by moving faster and finally chipping away at technology that the large companies can't do because they have to have billion-dollar revenue streams right away. So yep. I saw AI. I love AI. I reached out to Hikari and met him, and he was looking for someone to take over the business side of Omniki. And it was fate. Met him and joined the team.
I love this. Well, we'll talk about how sales is changing as technology advances, because obviously what you guys are doing and the space that you're in is moving so fast. So just talk about what changes have you seen? Where do you think it's going?
I think it's going right now where digital has to be the base. And all these AI tools right now are improving efficiencies across all of it, from understanding the customer to writing to generating, things that interest people for sales. Digital has to be the base. Like I mentioned earlier, I made thousands of cold calls in person and over the phone. My teams made thousands. And during that time, that's how you generated sales, and now digital, and with spam filters and people not wanting to pick up their phone call, this is the flip model. So you let millions of people see something. You figure out what's resonating from data, and then you double down on it. Before you'd reach, 50 a day, you don't get as much input into why people are buying.
Right.
And this is the flip model where you bring people to you, and then you start trying to figure out, how do I move things through the funnel in a different way? How do I improve my demo? How do I convert better? Because you can have a really small team and have a full day's worth of meetings where then you start figuring out how to qualify those leads better the opposite way than just completely outbound.
So let's make it impactful. Let's take an example business and just talk me through using kind of this generative AI. How do they make an impact from the time that they learn about your product and what you offer to the time that they're actually able to release this? Talk us through your process of how you work with them and what that looks like.
Yeah, we have a really quick onboarding process. So we are fully ready from the first conversation, the onboarding session, to fully launching within 7 business days. We're delivering creative within a couple of days.
Wow.
And so the first entry point to OmniKey is there's 2 things we do. We connect into the advertising data. If a customer has been advertising before OmniKey, we can pull out insights from the last 6 months of advertising. What's the optimal length of the video? What are the colors that are driving interaction? What are the keywords? We look at that right away. And then we also get connected with their brand assets, their brand guidelines, their fonts, their logos. This is what I like to call the guardrails right now for AI. This is like setting expectations, making sure we keep it within your brand. And then after that, within about 3 to 4 business days, we're delivering a first set of ad creatives, and the customer has full approval of giving you feedback. And then once they're launched, they're immediately collecting data and feedback for those audiences. And there's really 4 major variables you have to look at now for creative. One is your audience. Who is your ideal customer profile? What are the verticals for SaaS, software as a service? The second one is market. What geographies are you in? What languages do your customers speak? What regions of the world are you operating in? We deal with a lot of multinational companies. Mm-hmm. Third is products and services. What products are you using? What are your services? So each one of those would have a different personalized creative. And the fourth is platform. So we have integrations with Meta, Google, TikTok, LinkedIn, Reddit, Quora, connected television. Each one of these, Natalie, has to have a different message.
Yeah.
So what OmniKey does is we take all those inputs and then we personalize creative for each of these specific types of customer.
Talk about taking personalization to another level. So part of what you're doing is you're not only personalizing the platform, but then also to the particular customer through AI as well.
That's right. So we look at the data for each specific platform. We can take insights from a platform and use it across another platform from the customer. The second is we've built in a couple of artificial intelligence tools to our platform. So one is a creative brief designed just for advertising. So you just give it your product, service, your value prop. It's going to start just generating tons of ideas for video and image ads. Those are our direct inputs to image generation. So you can plug those directly into an image generator and instantly you're creative testing within seconds. Wow. The second one, Natalie, for e-commerce customers out there is we can train our AI on a product service. So you upload 5 photos of, let's say, these headphones, for example, and the AI learns what it looks like, and then you can go put it on any person in any location. So within a click of a button, you're putting someone at a beach, changing, all different types, whatever type of person that is interested in that type of product, you are instantly creating creative. So those are two of the couple things. So the creative brief plus the data plus instant image generation in headline and primary text.
This is so powerful. I mean, it literally, I'm just thinking of different use cases for what you're saying just based on what you said right there. So talk about a business who starts to use this. What are they actually seeing? Like, how do they see the impact when they start to use this tool?
Yeah. So from, like I said, immediately, if a customer has been advertising, we're looking at historical data. So right away, we're pulling out creative insights, not only on what's working, but what we haven't tested. So like a lot of customers are doing more general ads for their business. They're not drilling down on the ideal customer profile. So we can go do personalized creative for each of those type of verticals. And we're also looking at what's the top performing creative, and we're iterating off of that. So during the early, like second month of a relationship, a lot of times we can lower customer acquisition costs by about 30%.
Wow.
And decrease costs between like 4 times to 10 times. Because we supplement a creative team, a data specialist team, and a campaign manager.
That's huge in terms of just the on-ramp, not only to get started, but then to see those results pretty early on. So let me ask the question, as someone who used to smile and dial, like, do you see AI replacing traditional salespeople?
I think no matter what, for the near future, there has to be a human in the loop. Even with like advertising, like there is bias out there. You're seeing it all over the place. Yeah. We're implementing technology to like lower bias and increase safety. We have a human on the OmniKey side and a human on the customer side. So multiple touch points, look at stuff before it goes live. But it's going to continually automate different aspects. And I was actually discussing this internally with our company this week is every company has to start to become an AI company right now. Like if you're not skilling up, like imagine finance, like I have an MBA, like all these tools, you can immediately go get insight from AI. And if you're not using them, you're going to seriously be left behind the people that are. So reskill. And the second point on that, Natalie, is, it always used to require a computer science degree to get really technical. Right. Well, now a lot of the barriers are lower to entry with these new tools. Like people without a computer science background can go use them and become more efficient. So that's another reason why it's like there's free tools out there to reskill. Spend some of your time doing that.
It's interesting, just even over the last 6 months, there's been this huge acceleration in this space. And just seeing that it's actually accelerated the conversation, I think, globally on this need to reskill. I feel like before the last 6 months, we'd been talking for years about how AI, machine learning, all these things were going to change the landscape of work, but nobody was really seeing the change. I think now we're like, oh, it's here, right? Like it's right here. And so for some who've been having the conversation, have been beating the drum for years, now they're seeing that, no, this is a reality. This is something it's not coming now. It's actually here.
Right. And a lot of these companies that are developing the technology are open source, so anyone can use them. And there's a low cost for like initial testing. Compute costs start to get much more expensive as you scale. Like you start using these and using it at a lot of these different models, you'll start to have fees. But like for the normal person that wants to go skill up, you can go test all these different products and go figure out how to use them. Like the newest one really is Auto GPT, they call it. It's connecting multiple LLM models, like large language models. And you can go give it multiple tasks in a row, really. Like go research 5 competitors, give me their pricing, write an email to one of our customers that tells us why we're different from those competitors. Send me an email about that, and it will do it all for you, like in a chain.
It's funny, like even just on simple things. Like the other day I wrote a post and I read it and I was like, let me throw it in there and see what it does. And I'm like, oh, that was so much better. Like, you're just like, it wrote it so much better than I would have wrote it. So it's really impactful in small things, and then like you're talking about in big ways. And so if you're a futurist, go out for me even a year. What are we seeing? Like,
Oh my
maybe
gosh.
just even in your space.
Yeah, so there already have video ads out there right now. Have you seen any of these, Natalie? The new
I don't know
video-
if I have.
Oh,
Like,
you have
I'm
to check it out.
interested to hear more about this.
So there's a beer ad out there that was just released, and it's really funny. It's like, it's kind of the people are a little distorted, but it's like an alien looking down on humans and trying to explain what people at a party look like. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. You can just Google AI beer ad. But video ads are going to continue to get better and better. The second one is neural reading. We're already at a point right now where AI is starting to be able to plug in and read your brain. So they're doing tests right now where they will read you, or you'll listen to something, just like a podcast, and then they'll hook up like a neural transmitter and they'll be able to tell what you're listening to. So just imagine, like, that's getting to the point where pretty soon we're going to be able to just start to plug in, and then you're going to start to see things that you want to see from your brain.
Just by thinking about it.
Just by thinking about it. Yeah. And so instead of like having to predict, I mean, really right then you were really in personalization of almost immediate.
So what would you say to businesses that haven't even like researched this or scratched the surface? Like, what should the message be to a business that is kind of, let's say, has no clue, or just a light clue, knows it's out there but hasn't really done anything with it? What would the message be?
Yeah, there's a bunch of free trainings out there for like Udemy and stuff. Like, if you just like go look on Google and say AI trainings, start learning how to prompt and just start using Chat GPT or something. Prompt engineering is really like the hardest skill on it, is figuring out what to tell the AI. And that's what our team's like constantly doing, is building in the correct prompts that generate better creatives. But it's a skill. Like, the first time you do it, you could be getting terrible results from what you're asking. But then as you just figure out what to ask that is more effective, you get better. And there's free trainings out there on every single aspect. From I've seen SEO training, clearly blogs, digital ads is our niche, but really across the board for your business, all your channels of growth, AI can actually help accelerate it.
Yeah, it's so impactful. This is such an exciting time. I think that, we're seeing so much growth in this space. And I think that, it's a lot of confusion too, right? You have some people trying to slow it down, some people saying, let's speed it up. And then some that are in the middle just trying to figure it all out and figure out how to leverage it, right, and use it. And so it's just an interesting time that we're in with AI.
It sure is. You're seeing a lot of different stances being taken every single day. Like you saw last week, Samsung, who had been in trouble for someone putting in classified information into in the Chat GPT. They were revoked. They did zero trust policy. You can't use these tools on like company laptops. And then the other end, companies are going all in on it. So every day it's evolving. It's really exciting.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate. I mean, hopefully we don't overcorrect because of a few people. That would obviously be unfortunate if we overcorrect just based on a few people not following good sensibilities.
Right.
What final thoughts would you have for our listeners today?
Yeah. If you're not testing these tools, start just joining some of the newsletters and things that send you the tools every day. Come check out Omneky at www.omneky.com, OMNEKY. And you could put in the referral code. You heard us on the Innovation Meets Leadership podcast. And Ben's Bites is a great newsletter, I keep saying. And they have 10 cool tools every day on there. Go test 2 or 3 of the free ones. And you're going to learn a ton and get better with AI.
That's so awesome. And this is such a fun space to be in. And thanks for your time today, Matt. I learned a lot. I enjoyed listening to you talk about this. This is obviously something you're passionate about and enjoy, and you can tell when you talk about it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Natalie. Greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. How can people find you personally?
Look me up on LinkedIn at, my name's Matt Swalley, or send me an email at matt@omneky.com, OMNEKY.com.
Awesome. Thanks again for your time today, Matt.
Thank you.
Well, to our listeners, thank you for joining the Innovation Meets Leadership podcast. Remember, don't just get out of the box, break the box and set it on fire. Let's go transform something.
Thank you for joining us for the Innovation Meets Leadership podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our show on iTunes. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Innovation Meets Leadership, and visit our site at innovationmeetsleadership.com for more innovation resources.
Hey, my new book is out, Set It on Fire, The Art of Innovation. Click on the link to learn more. And don't just get out of the box, break the box and set it on fire. Let's go transform something.